Okay, we begin. How can I properly internalize terms like assur, sviros, eidin, soif, instead of memorizing info? The Baruch is basically saying he learns chassidus, he learns about these different levels, and it's just information. How do you internalize them? So one of the basic answers is based on what we learned this morning in Tanya class, that מבשרי אחזה אלקי, you find things within yourself, and from there you understand the way it works by the avtzon. So mlma'ala, if you learn about the 10 spheres within yourself, you will understand these concepts mlma'ala. If you find within yourself eidin soif, you'll find them mlma'ala. So for example, if a bacher comes to say that every single day on time, that is bli gvul, that's almost like infinity. And mlma'ala, you find the ein soif within yourself. If a bacher has a taiva to do something and he controls himself, he goes against his nature, that's also an element of ein soif. So those in Yanim, and that's how you can find it within yourself, and then you can connect it with Lamaila. Al-Derech said the 10 Sfiris, you learn about the chachomim bin adas and all those midas, and all those things, you can understand them better as well. So that's my simple answer. I don't know if that answers the question. I didn't really understand the question so much the truth, what's internalizing these things. But that's how these things could be understood better. Question. How come? Why does God create mentally ill, etc. people? Why does Hashem create mentally healthy people? Why does Hashem create people b'chlal? Hashem has a master plan. He wants a dira b'tachtonim, and because of that, He creates many things, and everything contributes. Everything that's out there contributes. That's the first answer. Then there's the famous Rambam. The Rambam answers the question. Anybody knows? Very good. The Rambam says entertainment for the smart people. The Rambam writes that in Pirush HaMishnayos, that Hashem wants the smart people not to be bored, so the mentally ill people are there just for that. You're providing a smart entertainment. And then we have another answer, the answer of the story of David HaMelech. Someone just said that. David HaMelech famously asked Hashem the same question. It takes one to know one, yeah? David. And he asked the Abishter, and later on, when David HaMelech ran away from Shaul, one of the times he ended up in Gas by the Plishtim, and over there, the Plishtim recognized him, and they told the king, look, this is David HaMelech, this is the warrior that kills all the Plishtim. So David HaMelech was terrified, so he started acting as if he's crazy. And Achish, the king Achish said, you're bringing me another Meshugana. So the Mefarshim say that his wife and his daughter were crazy also. He said, no, Meshugana, enough already. So the mentally ill people are there to enjoy, to help us sometimes act mentally ill in order to save ourselves. Then there's another verse that Gdeli Yisrael have said, that sometimes there's a special neshama that has to come down to this world. And because it's such a holy neshama, it can't function in a regular kind of body. So therefore, the Eibusher creates it with special challenges, mentally ill challenges. What? I'll direct the concept of Tayu, not mamish, but there's a similarity there. So when someone is mentally ill, they say some certain tzaddikim, certain Gdeli Yisrael, when someone that was Down syndrome would walk into the room, they would stand up. They would be able to sense this is a holy neshama, that's why he came into such a goof. So those are maybe some suggested answers. What's your favorite sport and why? No?
Chicken.
Huh?
Soccer.
I used to be soccer because I used to think that I'm good at soccer.
And then you put it in the subway.
And then, yeah. Now it's Subway Surf, yeah. Okay, question. How can you get a Mexican to do stuff on Shabbos? This is a racist question. How do you get a goy to do something on Shabbos? So this is actually one of the most complicated subjects in Halacha. It's called Amirah La'akum, telling a guy to do something which really doesn't only apply to Shabbos, it also applies to other malachis. Asking a guy to do something that's forbidden. It is very, very complicated. There have been svarim written specifically on these halachas. But the general answer is the guy has to do it for himself and not for you. And if the guy does it for you, it's forbidden. And that's one detail. A second detail has to be a real need for it to be done. So the classical example, when the lights are off, so you bring the guy into the room. So besides the fact that you cannot tell him directly that turn on the light, but even when he realizes it's dark in here, he has to kiviyachol benefit from it as well. So Maisa with the tzamach tzedek, Maisa, they brought him into the room, and the guy turned on the light, and then he went off and he turned it off or something, a candle, I don't know, he gave him a beer. And then he left with the tzamach tzedek. Then he a second time, and then he walked out with him, and he gave him the beer outside. But the point is, he has to do it for himself, and you cannot tell him to do it directly. And then there's like I said, many more details, but that's in short. Unfortunately, many times when people ask a guy to do a malacha Shabbos, unfortunately, is often not done in the correct way. No, because I want the light on is doing it for you. Tell him that you want. Tell him you want the light on. It's not enough to point it, because then he's doing it just for you. You have to tell him, oh, isn't it uncomfortable over here? Me and you need the switch to be turned on. No, you shouldn't mention the switch. Yeah, okay. No, like I said, it's huge. I just gave a few tunes, Likudis. It's a huge sugya. I just said a few Nikudis bekitzer, and the more you'll have to either ask again or look up during the halachas yourselves. Yeah. Can you ask a guy to check the score for you on Shabbos? No, I don't think so. It's complicated. The moment you're saying that you're telling a guy it's Shabbos and we can't turn on the lights, you're saying, so we need the lights on, so you turn on the lights for us. Listen, I gave you the Tanakudis, and that's it. More than that, I can't really answer every particular case. Okay, I don't understand this question, but I'll give an answer anyway. Is Bentzi avtzon sort of like a Chabad Tyler Olivera? What's Tyler Olivera? So I don't know who that is, but I know who Bentzi avtzon is a little bit, so I can tell you my opinion of Bentzi avtzon. As you all know, I like listening to podcasts. So there's a podcast that I found out about a while ago. It's called Homesick for Lubavitch, and the host is Bentzi avtzon. His father's a shliach in Hong Kong. And so he has a podcast where he interviews people about, in his words, being homesick for Lubavitch. So I listened to some of his podcasts. The Chalal podcasters, what they often do is they have an opinion and agenda, and then they speak to somebody, and they basically, even though they ask the person questions and let him speak, but they often mix in very often and say their own opinions as well. So he in his podcast he does that as well, but he has lots of people that he interviews about different subjects in Chabad history, Chabad Ashkafa. From the conversations that I listen, he's a person that knows chassidus, but more than that, he really likes to analyze things and philosophize and figure things out. So he has a certain opinions about Chabad Chassidushkeit, and everyone's entitled to their opinions. Some of his opinions I agree with, some I don't agree with, but I like what he does. I think he does a nice job. And some people I heard don't like him so much. I like it. In one of the podcasts, he said a good word. He said his grandfather was Mair, was a very big chassid. His grandfather was never settled. He came to America from Russia, and he was never settled. So he said, like, he's homesick for what? Like, he was unhappy here, but going back to Russia, it's impossible. So what's he looking forward to? So he didn't say what I expected him to say, that he wants Mashiach. That's what he really wants. That should have been the answer, but he doesn't like talking about Mashiach a little bit. Whatever, that's his chus. But I think he does a nice job. It's not the first podcast I would suggest you to listen. There's, I think, a few other ones that are more interesting and more acceptable, more especially more informative. But if you're a bit more advanced and you're looking for interesting stuff to listen to, it sure shouldn't be too low on your list. To put that in the Q&A. Question: why is it feared that we have to suffer for sins of previous generations? As we know that there is a concept of a gilgul, and sometimes people suffer. There's a famous from the Arizal, if I'm not mistaken, the middle of it brings it. The Crusades. We're now in the time of the Crusades. Yeah, the Sivan, Sivan, The stories of the Crusades in Germany and France, and terrible, terrible stories. Thousands of Yidden were killed, and you read, have the memoirs in English. It's so heart-wrenching what the Yidden went through, the killing. It's mamish terrible. And it's brought down that they were a gilgul of a previous generation of the times of the first Beis Hamikdash, of Avodah Zarah, so that's why they suffered. So the Bachar is asking, why do we have to suffer for past answers? And the answer is that we're not someone separate, we're the same person. It's al derech, somebody gets drunk, and then he does something stupid, he falls or he hurts himself. The next day he wakes up and he has a broken arm or something. Why do I have to suffer for what happened yesterday? Because it's you, but I don't remember doing it. Yeah, but it's you. Because it's you, so even though you don't remember doing it, it's still you. So al derech zeh, when it comes to gilgולים, we don't remember our past gilgul. As far as we're concerned, we didn't do anything. But a gilgul means this is me. I, in a previous generation, did X, Y, and Z. So therefore, I have to suffer. So that's why I'm suffering now. I don't remember it. Because the way the gilgul works, I don't remember. But whatever happened in the past is me. I did something yesterday, so I'm suffering today. So I did something 1,000 years ago, I'm suffering today. But it's all the same me. This question comes up from time to time. The question is, from a halacha standpoint, can I have a friend that's a girl? And halacha in Even Ha'ezer and Simen Chaf Aleph, Hilchis, it's a Hilchis Isha, Simen Chaf Aleph, halacha Vav, Ein She'alin Bishloim Isha Klau. It is forbidden to ask a woman how she's doing. Afilu Ayidei Shliach, even through a messenger. Even through a husband, it's forbidden to send her regards. You can ask her husband how she's doing. So the halacha is very clear. It is forbidden to have a friendly relationship with a girl. Now, it doesn't. So if you're at the grocery store or Walmart and you're buying something, and the person, you can ask the lady, where do you buy? Where is this and this and this aisle? And you can say please and say thank you. You can be respectful and courteous. And not only you could be, but you should be proper. But having a conversation more than necessary is forbidden. So if your doctor is a woman or whatever is a nurse, any kind of conversation connected to the business is okay. But any kind of friendly talk is forbidden. We know the letters of the Rebbe famously. How can you tell if the letter is written to a man or to a woman? That the first two words? Bracha v'shalom, v'shalom u'bracha. To a man, the Rebbe always writes shalom u'bracha. To a woman, you can't say shalom. So the Rebbe says bracha v'shalom. That's the halacha. It's always like that. So there's never. So you can, if a person has a therapist that she's a woman, that's fine because it's a need. But stamazay, a friendly conversation, is halachically assur. Now, why is it assur? So, because the halacha says so. Now, there are reasons. Of course, there are reasons, but people have to realize that even if the reason might not apply, it's still forbidden. This leads me to the next question. Is it okay to talk to a really unattractive girl? So first of all, I have to say my famous story that I said, the bus story. Remember the bus story? The bus story, this happened with a shliach. There is a shliach in South America. And actually, I once spoke to his brother for something. I asked his brother, is that story true? And he said, yeah, it's my brother. What was the story? He said he's an Israeli guy who was on a bus. And he's sitting on a bus in Eretz Yisrael, and there was one empty seat on the bus next to him. And a young freie boyfriend and girlfriend got onto the bus, and he overhears the girlfriend telling the boyfriend, I'm going to sit there next to that frume guy, he's going to have to get up, and then you'll take his spot. So she sits down next to him, and he ignores her, he continues sitting. So she tells him, isn't the halacha that, you can't sit next to a girl? So he says, only if they're pretty. So... But so Kopanim, that's not true. It's a very good shtech. I liked it a lot, but that's not true. The halacha is that it's forbidden. The halacha that it says Ein She'alin Bishloim Isha Klal does not differentiate about any details. It's assur no matter what. And the reason is because it's just like if somebody says, I hate meat and milk. I never eat meat. Is a person like that allowed to eat chicken and milk? We all know that chicken and milk is mutter min ha-Torah. The only reason why it's assur because it might lead to eating meat and milk. But I hate meat. I never eat meat. It makes no difference. Once chachomim said it's assur, it's assur. So therefore, once chachomim said it's assur regardless if you think that it's not going to apply to you and whatever. In addition to that, chachomim are a lot smarter than us, and even in cases where you think that nothing will ever happen, unfortunately, things do happen, and therefore it remains assur regardless. But again, even without that, we're going to say what could happen. Chacham said it's assur forever. Yeah.
So if you go to Walmart and you can't say like, oh, she's like, how's your day going? You can't be like, oh, how's your day going?
I think in Iowa you're allowed to, because in Iowa it's like saying thank you and please. How's your day going? It's part of the same. It's not. You can just throw it out. Again, I'm not a Rav, I can't pass him, but I think that in Iowa, asking how's your day going is just like nothing. It's like in Quick Start, they always say, see you next time. That's part of they're trained to say that. And so it's not a friendly conversation. It's part of their business. Part of their job is to say hello, is to say whatever. And part of the menschlichkeit on our end is to say please and thank you. The pastors, it's forbidden. What's the Shulchan Aruch? If you want to speak to Rav, maybe you got a different hatter. There might be. This is the simple shot. If it's, I can't ain't share with pastors. You can't have a friendly conversation. That's not negate to anything. It's not a conversation. It's negate. You're not stop talking. You're asking her where do I find the pickles, and on the way you just say thank you, how's your day, whatever. That's part of the main conversation. Something else. When you go, when the nurse checks you out in the doctor's office, you also may have some small talk. It's part of the job. It's not like a friendly conversation. This is my understanding. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, 1 second. You cannot tell the husband, send regards to your wife. You can. No, so that you could say. You can't ask him how she's doing. I forgot the lotion of it. Huh? Your sisters, yeah. Huh? Okay, this is what I have to say. You want more? I gave you the Maramokim. I gave you the Maramokim. Siman Chof Aleph Se'iv Vav. You can check up more over there. That's where it all boils down to. If it's a woman that you're not allowed to marry, then it's forbidden. If it's your sister, your mother, your daughter, then it's okay. The Halacha discusses such things. That's probably more permitted. It's probably more permitted. From the next halach in Shulchan Aruch and Siv Zayin, you can be medayik that is permitted. Okay, I think that's enough on that subject for now. What? Question: should we say tikkun chatzos? Those that are not familiar, in the siddur, in the assur, we have in the back of the siddur something called tikkun chatzos, which is a kind of a Krishma Shalamitak piece. It's a few shtiklach zoyar, a few kapitlach of Tehillim, where the seder is, you go to sleep at an early hour, 8, 9 o'clock, you wake up at chatzos, at midnight, and you sit on the floor, and you put ash on your head, and you read those pieces, and you cry. And you cry about the churban of the Beis HaMikdash. The reading itself apparently doesn't take too long. I think a half hour, maybe less, the amount that's there. You think less than that? David says less than that. It takes you, sure, if you're saying it with kavon, you're saying 5 pages. So 5 pages, it depends how long it takes you a page. Either way, after that, the official say that is, you remain up until the morning learning Mishnayos, and then you daven Vasikim. Now, Chassidei Chabad did not do it. There were a few exceptions, notably Zalman Meisha, Yitzchaki, famously the Rebbe Rashaber, the Friedricher Rebbe, I forget which one, told him to say tikkun chatzos, and he asked the Rebbe what to do, and he said whatever it says in the siddur, that's what you should do. However, regular chassidim and even great chassidim did not do it, and the reason is because it's something which you have to medat halten by them. You have to really care about the churban. It should bother you. That therefore you should go and cry over it and say the tikkun. But stam gesagt, nicht geninyan. When it comes to davening and halacha, whatever you have to say, you have to say. But if this is something which you're not holding there, we don't do it. Today there are other yidden in the world that do it. Some of them might be on a level that by them talking they're holding, they feel the churban. Some of them might be just they were told that they have to say it regardless. But our hadracha is that if you don't really feel the churban, you don't say it. Yeah. It's something that you cry about the churban. So if you don't feel for the churban, you don't. I didn't look at the sources to see where it says that, but it's a davar. That's our minute. That's for sure. That's why in Chabad we don't do. That's clear. Yeah. I can't hear you. If you don't feel bad for the chum, why should you fast on Tisha B'Av Shiva Asar B'Tammuz? Good question. The answer over there is that over there the halacha l'maisa says what you have to do. So there's halacha that you have to. You're also meant to feel. So with the feeling we can't arouse in ourselves. But the halacha part of saying the slichus and the fasting we could. The point of the fast is trying to make us feel that way. I'm not sure that's the way you're saying it, but. If Hashem is kol kulei toiv, why did He send me here? Why can bad things happen? Hashem is all good, so why did He send me? So the answer is because Hashem is good, and that's why He sent you here, because He wants the best for you. Why do bad things happen? That's one of the most ancient questions in the book, and one of the basic answers, Chazez and Chazal, ein ra yöred mlma'ala. Nothing bad comes down from above, and even though it seems to be bad, it's really good. How to explain that? It's very hard. In many situations, something seemingly really bad happens, and we don't know how to explain it, and we cry to Hashem and tell Hashem, I want to see how it's good. But we believe that it's all for the good. So because Hashem, He sent me over here because He's good, and He wants me to have good as well. And that's why He's here. And I don't understand it. Either I will understand it or I won't understand it. But I believe that it's all for my benefit and I'm gaining, and it's good for me. Yeah. Yeah. Torah never uses the word bad. But when it comes to bad, the Torah says, ein ra yöred mlma'ala. All the psukim of the Teichacha, Behola, Kadachas, whatever those things, Mefarshim explain that they're all positive things, they're good things. Yeah, all the curses are explained. The chassidus also explains. Because we have to have the revealed good. Because it can be it's explained also that Hashem gives it to you, and it can become bad for you. It's like giving you a knife. I did bad to you, I gave you a knife. You can use it to cut vegetables. You can use it to hurt yourself. I gave you good. So whatever Hashem gives is good. We can take it and make bad out of it. And if we do bad, we have to fix us. First of all, ein ra yöred mlma'ala. And second of all, there is truth to that as well. Look at the Sichas Chaylekein, Chaysar, this famous Halacha Chaysar, the Biurim over there, famous Harder 19, whatever. But there's truth to that. But Al that wasn't the question. The question was mlma'ala. So the Eibusher tells us mlma'ala, everything is good. So even though it seems bad, it's really good. How do I know that Mashiach is good? Because the Rambam says, and it's part of the fundamentals of the Jewish faith, when Mashiach comes, everything will be good. It's a Rambam. HaToiva tiya mushpa'as harbe. Oh, so over there it's understood that it will be good in a revealed way. The Rambam describes the details, how good it's going to be in a revealed way. Right, you have a point. Then it could be good in a bad way. We're not going to see it. No, it's understood that over there it's going to be good in a revealed way. What? Matters. Yeah? Even if it's not in a revealed way, Gvura will be revealed. What's Gvura Bamis? Gvura Bamis is good. His question was that if we're saying that everything bad is really good, so when Mashiach comes, it'll be bad weiter, but it'll be really good. Okay, Kitzur, I think I answered the question. The Baruch is asking a question, I'm not going to read it out loud. He's basically saying, can I do this and this? Because this is not enough. This Baruch, I'm very, very concerned for him, because he really needs a mashpia, and he really has to start working on himself. But the answer to his original question is that the truth is, I only understood one detail. I didn't understand the other things. And as the joke goes, that there was a father was told, you have to speak to your kids today. You have to tell your kids what's the facts of life. So he calls in his 10-year-old son, and he says, son, we got to have the talk. So the son looks at his father, Dad, what do you want to know? So I don't know what the Bach is writing about. I don't think the Bach know more than me. So I don't know what he wrote. The one detail, the second detail I did understand. It was English. So the answer to the first question is you can definitely get a heter. But the main thing that it's not enough, you're in a bad place. Because if you already think that way now, then even what you ask for a heter for also won't be enough. And nothing will be enough for you. Unless the only thing will be enough for you is learning chassidus. When you learn chassidus, then you'll solve your problems. And what you're doing is, that's what you're thinking about now, you should be very careful before you get married to have a good therapist or a good mashpia to give you lots of guidance. Question: why do you always take off your shoes? I don't always take off my shoes. I take them off when it's uncomfortable for me. Okay, a question. I'm going to say the question in my words, but they're just going to skip a detail that the Bacher wrote, but it's fine. The question is still there. The question is basically, what do you do in the yichud room? So there's a Gemara in Ksubis, Avtzon beis. The Gemara writes, Hakol yoidin kala lama nichnas al chuppah. Everybody knows why the kala goes into the chuppah. Anyone that actually starts saying, oh, you know what they're doing tonight? Everyone that starts saying those words, even if he has 70 years worth of getting good stuff, all gets turned for bad. Speaking about such things in an open public way is terrible. That's ha'akdam. Now, Lamaisa, first I want to tell you what's not the cheder yichud. This is a story that I want to say at least once a year, so everyone should know the story. And it's very important that everyone should make sure, chas v'shalom, never to do this. There was a chasana, I think this was a true story, that's what I was told always, it was a true story. I said it once, and a Bacher told me, also heard that it's true. And the cheder yichud, when the kala walked out of the cheder yichud, her face looked like flushed. So her father went over to ask her what just happened. So she was uncomfortable. So she said, what happened? So we came into the cheder yichud, and my chassan, that I'm looking forward to get married to him, walks over to me, and he slaps me across the face. You heard the story also? I said it this year. Okay. I have to say it at least once a year. He slaps her across the face, and he says, I'm here to assert dominance. I'm here to show you that we're married. I'm in charge in the marriage. And she was, whoa. When the father heard that, he told the band to stop playing the music. He went to the mic and he said, the chasna is over. Everyone should please go home. He took his daughter home with him. You're not going to the house. They went to Arav the next day and they got a get, and they made sure that she stays far away from such a person. No one should ever think, chas v'shalom, to do such a crazy thing. It's ridiculous. It's marvel. No, if you want to assert dominance over shir beis, then yeah, that's okay. But chas v'shalom, no, one second. No one should ever think. So what is the cheder yichud? So as we know in Halacha, it is kiddushin and nisuin. Kiddushin is you give your wife, your chala, a ring and you're mekadosh her. That's one step of connection. Nisuin is when you're husband and wife. So the Halacha says chuppah is koina. Chuppah, not chuppah is koina, sorry. The chuppah is the nisuin. What is the chuppah? So there's an opinion that chuppah means standing under the canopy, that the chas and the kala stand together. And there's an opinion that chuppah means when they're alone in a room for a certain amount, of 5-10 minutes. So when the chas and the kala are alone in the room, sitting together, and they eat supper together, they've been fasting the whole day, that is cheder yichud. You sit together in the room with your kala, and you say, that is the halacha, and by being there alone for those few minutes, that is considered the cheder yichud. Yes? Why what? That's the din of yichud. Yichud means we're alone. Just like a man and a wife live together alone, they're alone in the room now. Now the kinyan is fine. That's just being alone in the room. That's all that has to happen. But you have to make the kinyan. But right now you have to make the nisuin. You make the nisuin right now. You make the kiddushin and the nisuin. Kiddushin is giving her the ring, and the nisuin is the next step you have to do.